Good evening, global citizens. Welcome to our live webinar on Portugal Golden Visa updates. As some of you may know, yesterday the Assembly of the Republic of Portugal convened and gave its approval to the final version of the Mais Habitação bill, the More Housing bill, which includes significant changes to the Golden Visa regime. But despite these recent developments, the Portugal Golden Visa is still on. And we are here to explain what it means for you. I am with our CEO, Patricia Casaburi, and with our head of legal, Joana Mendonça, to answer all your burning questions, such as, can I still apply? Or is real estate no longer an option? Or what happens to my current application? Welcome and thank you. Join us. We will answer all your questions soon. So before we dive into our discussion, let's just take a quick look at our agenda for today's live. This shouldn't take longer than 40 minutes. And I will start by asking our guests a few questions, a brief summary on what happened yesterday, and then we will open our Q&A and you can ask your own questions. Just so we all know, we are live on YouTube, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, and from Twitter. For both Goldcrest, our real estate sister company, and Global Citizen Solutions social media accounts. And last but not least, please do not forget to give us a like and help this video go viral, because it will be very useful for anyone who wants to understand what happened, what is happening with the Portugal Golden Visa. So I think before I go and ask Joana, let's start with a brief summary on what has happened yesterday. So the Assembly approved the final text of the bill More Housing, which results, among others, in the change in the Golden Visa regime, namely eliminating all real estate investment options, whether it's performed directly or indirectly. Joana, can you give us a breakdown on what was voted yesterday regarding the Golden Visa?
Surely. First, thanks for having me, Gisane. About what happened yesterday, this is all fresh news. So allow me to have my notes here, because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. It has been a long road, a roller coaster, to be honest. But actually, the content of the wording that was voted today was anticipated in this last few weeks. I think that in the last 7 or 8 weeks, we all knew what was going to happen, so it was expected. But let's summarize what the main takeaways from yesterday's voting. So all applications pending with CEF will be analyzed in accordance with the law in force at the time of the submission, meaning anyone who manages to submit the application before the new law comes into force will be eligible for the paths we know today. Then, maintenance of residence permits will continue to be sufficient, with an average stay of 7 days each year. So this means that the minimum stay requirement of 7 days will be honored for anyone, for applicants who started the Golden Visa in 2016 and applicants who are submitting a Golden Visa today. Renewals will be processed with the same initial rules. So this is because we had a previous wording back in February and March saying that they wouldn't. It's now confirmed renewals will be processed in the same way.
That must be a relief for clients, yeah?
Oh, it is, for sure, especially for clients who applied long before this even becoming a problem. So yeah. Obviously, this is amazing news.
Okay.
Family reunions under the same terms. So everyone, because there's something different about family reunification. Family reunification, it's a visa and a residence permit by itself. It's not only an add-on to the Golden Visa. It works with all the other visas. So the government never tried to stop or terminate the family reunification. The question was, will family members follow the same regime as these new golden visas? Yes, they will. They will be able to renew with just a minimum stay requirement of 7 days per year.
Yeah.
Then all investment routes that have minimal relation with real estate, direct or indirect, are eliminated, meaning real estate acquisition with rehabilitation or not, funds investing in real estate, anything real estate related is will no longer be eligible according to the new wording. And finally, the not so good news, I think the law will come into force one day after it is published. I think that's the only thing that it's actually bad news, because we won't have a grace period. I think everyone in the industry was kind of expecting a grace period. It made sense, unfortunately. Once the law is out, we have 1 day just for the wording to become effective.
Okay, so let's recap. So just for anyone who just joined us, we just started, but Joana gave us some really important information. So, which is the results of the law results of yesterday. So applications that were pending decision by law. A decision by SEF will be analyzed in accordance with the law at the time of the submission. Yeah, Joana, feel free to correct me. 7 days, the maintenance average stay will still continue. Renewals will be processed under the same rules from the beginning. The family unions, reunions are guaranteed. Investment rules related to real estate are eliminated, but we'll talk more about that at a later point. And there's no grace period, so that means that the law will come into force the day after its publication. So, Joana, is it safe to say that the Golden Visa program will continue? And if, with the answer being yes, what are the eligible investments now?
Yes, that's very important. The Golden Visa program will continue. So we started with the government announcing termination. We ended up with amendments. So real estate was removed from the Golden Visa. That's the main idea behind what happened yesterday. So from the new wording, the moment of that the new law comes into force on, what we will have is the 500,000 euro investment in collective investment structures. This includes funds. This is a different wording.
What does that mean?
Yeah, the wording we have today says venture capital funds, capitalization of companies. Right now, this time the Parliament chose a different wording: collective investment structures. I think there's more options to fit within this one than just funds. So probably the industry will find new structures that are attractive for investors. So I think we can expect interesting news for this route.
Okay.
Then setting up or entering in the share capital of an existing company, alongside the creation of jobs. So this is an option that hasn't been very popular, but I think that right now, probably the industry will try to find, will try to manage how to turn this into an attractive investment. So I also expect this route to become more popular soon.
Okay.
Finally, they are different different routes, but we can put them together. The donation type of investment. This can be done in arts or cultural or national heritage on one hand, on the other hand, on the scientific domain. We haven't seen a lot of investment in the scientific domain. I think that also on the Portuguese government side, it's not well structured yet. I hope that now they take this chance to improve this option. It can be very interesting, and we have there's interest in this one, but it's not working very well. On the other side, cultural and artistic already have some traction in Portugal. I think they will see an increase too if the industry manages to create new products around this project.
Yeah. I agree with you. It's a great chance for the Portuguese government to develop something very interesting for the society as well. And okay, so then we have donation, we have setting up or entering the share capital of existing companies, and the funds. So now to understand the next chapters with regards to the More Housing Bill, do you have a rough timeline on what is happening next?
No. I do. But I really need my notes for this one, because I have to go back to almost go back to law school to review all this procedure to make sure. So the proposal was at the final voting yesterday in the parliament. So it's done. Everyone agrees, at least the party that supports the government, which has a large majority. They all agreed this is the wording to be approved, and now the wording will go back to the small group that was discussing the bill in the previous weeks. So they will make the final version, make sure there are no mistakes, no small typos in the final wording. Once they're done, they will it will be published in the Parliament Gazette only. After it is published in the Parliament Gazette, all the other parties, everyone involved, will be able to ask for small amendments in terms of typos and that sort of thing. So there's a short deadline here, 5 days to ask for to make sure these changes are done. So not too long. Then
just to change typos.
Just to change, it cannot change the
content.
The content or the way what they mean with the bill. After when the final wording becomes really final, it will be sent to the president. And we can stop here, because these two steps of final wording and sent to the president, they need to take place during July, as the parliament will have the recess during August. So I think you can expect these steps to happen in the next couple of weeks before the recess. Then it's sent to the president. Then the president has 20 days to make his assessment. And his assessment can have 3 different outcomes. First one, he agrees with the whole content, and bear in mind, it's not only Golden Visa, there's a lot more in that bill. He agrees with the content, he immediately ratifies, and he sends to the official gazette to be published and to come into force immediately after. This is option A. Option B, he uses the political veto, meaning he sends the bill back to the parliament, asking Parliament if they don't find one or some of the rules to be not compliant with the Constitution, and it can do a recommendation. And just in the end, the president, as guardian of the Constitution, can ask the Parliament to reassess according to his take on the wording. If he does that, he sends back to the Parliament, and the Parliament can vote the bill again after 15 days. And in that case, it can be, this political veto can be overridden if a large majority reapproves the wording. And in that case, back to the president and he has 8 days to send it to the official gazette. Okay, so political veto comes back to the parliament. Parliament thinks about what the president said. They vote again, and if they surpass, it's sent back to the president, and he needs to send to the official gazette for publishing. Then, last option, he sends to the Constitutional Court for the Constitutional Court to make an assessment. So he raises some issues or concerns. He sends to the Constitutional Court, and they have 25 days to go through the whole bill and make a decision. If the Constitutional Court says something is not compliant with the Constitution, immediately goes back to the Parliament. The Parliament reassesses accordingly, and we go back to the stage where we were in this last couple of weeks.
Let me stop you there for a moment, Joana. So you gave me about, I think, option ABC of what things that the president might do. I don't want to play the guessing game, but just based in history and the standards and the patterns of the current president of the Portuguese Republic, what can we perhaps predict will be his stance here?
I think it's very hard to predict what our president is doing, but there's this. I think it's next week. I'm not sure if it's next week or still this week. There's the president is having a meeting with his former councils and debating the status quo of the country. So I think this is relevant. This president is a law professor, actually in constitutional law too. So he knows exactly what he's doing in terms of constitutional law. I think the More Housing Bill raised a lot of questions in constitutional terms, not necessarily for the Golden Visa, but for different legal provisions. I think that regarding the Golden Visa, it only remains in constitutional terms, remains only the lack of grace period, because a few months ago, the so-called father of the Constitution, issued a legal opinion on one of the versions of the bill, and apparently he said that the lack of grace period might violate the expectations, the legitimate expectations that investors had. So I think there's a small chance we can discuss a constitutional issue about the Golden Visa, but I do think it's a small chance because there are other legal provisions that raise bigger concerns than this one. So I think it's possible that the president sends to the Constitutional Court, but depends on how this meeting with the councillors goes and his relationship with the government. So I think it's very, very hard to predict. But technically, I think there's enough grounds for it to happen. And also, he's not the only one who can ask the Constitutional Court. Actually, if at least 46 of the deputies agree on sending it to the Constitutional Court, it can be done by the deputies also.
I see. Okay. Right. Thank you. That was a very good analysis. And is there any final final step that you haven't mentioned?
The final step. We stopped when we were explaining the decision from the Constitutional Court. So in the end, when it goes back to the president, he always has 8 days. Ultimately, he always has 8 days to send it to be published in Diário da República. Diário da República itself usually will take 1 or 2 days to do it traditionally.
Okay.
And then that's it. 1 day after comes into force.
Right. Okay, and yeah, Diário da República is the national official gazette,
Official Gazette.
correct?
So as you can see, there's
Okay.
a lot of steps here that it can happen very quickly, depending on the commitment of all the parties involved. Or obviously during summer recess, this can take a while. So it's very hard to predict exactly when the final wording will come into force. We know all
I
the
see.
steps, but we also know more housing is a roller coaster. So I think we have to wait and see and assess every day or at least every week what's happening to manage everyone's expectations.
Okay, I see. So here you say that it is very hard to anticipate, to accurately anticipate a guideline, but there are lots of steps to be taken anyway.
And we
Good,
are
thank you.
able to monitor all of them. So actually, we will know every day what's happening.
And then, and as information comes, you always will, in timely manner, inform clients and anyone interested as well. We will publish videos and organize lives like this one. Good, good. So let's move on. I'd like to ask Patricia if we can still apply for the Golden Visa as it stands now, and if so, what do our viewers need to do?
Okay, unmuted, duly unmuted. A little bit like Joana said, we're navigating in the dark here pretty much. We have some assumptions, but it's all there is. So we do have people in different stages, and some people are actually signing up today, which it is a bit of a race. So we've already identified ways of expediting the whole process, all very safely and in line, but every possible avenue to make it quicker. So a good short list of properties that we know that can actually be completed fairly soon, a number of developers that are willing to also safeguard the buyer's position with some clauses to resolve the contract in a good way in case we run out of time, handling working in escrow accounts. And so there's a number of steps that we devised now to enable quick transactions, but we do require a commitment from the applicant and an extra kind of degree of focus on the application. Obviously, if people they don't have to come to Portugal, but if they do decide to come, is also helpful. You can gain some time or make some things a little bit more straightforward, because every document that it's signed in person and everything else cuts an extra step in the formalities on the other side. So there's little things like that, but it's not completely necessary. One thing that our commitment to our clients, though, is work with transparency and do risk assessment at every step of the way. That being on a promissory contract, ensuring that there is maybe a resolution clause, or making sure that we don't actually, exchange money. If that's the case, that we don't have a resolution clause, that they don't actually pay for the investment unless we know that we have clear days to submit the application safely, getting all of the documents set up. There's a number of things that we've done. We are prepared, but we will be doing risk assessments with the clients on the kind of key milestones to make sure that we have clear margins to do things and file the applications. You're still muted.
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay. Sorry.
It does never fail, right? This is at least.
Yeah. Doesn't like my finger. Okay, Patricia, I guess that streamline for the application is something that you and your team have been working on since, I don't know, the first announcement on 16th of Feb. And then the main takeaway here is that it's not only that time is of essence, but the investor needs to be highly committed in order to get everything ready for the application. So let me see if there's something else. You mentioned, things that investors could do to accelerate this process. Is there anything practical in terms of documents that they could put together, perhaps transfer of capital? What is it that they could be doing?
Yes, I mean, certainly there are things we are focusing hugely on the main applicant. So make sure that as soon as they jump on board into this process, they already ask for their background checks. I think this is the main one. Procure their family documents as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a huge one. What else? I mean, zoom in and understand. At the moment, it's very virtually impossible to invest in something that it's not already a project that is kind of geared up towards a golden visa. We have a number of clients that in the past bought houses to renovate themselves. This is completely out of the equation now because the level of complexity of these types of deals are just too great. So again, focus and being level-headed and making sure that they're engaging with the team constantly. So as soon as they sign up, they get links for the KYC and power of attorney first to get their tax number, which is in Portugal is crucial to be able to move forward with any kind of contract. And so keeping this pace, we're committed, but we also need, for that to happen from on the other side as well.
Yeah,
we find that clients are definitely very aware of everything that's going on and communicating with us. So
sure, excellent. Okay, thank you. Now, before we go and open our lives, and we have not the live, the Q&A, we have lots of questions here. I just want to ask you, what do you think about the future of the Golden Visa? What's going to happen now with this the new phase of the Portuguese Golden Visa?
Look, we're already seeing, I think Joana touched on that briefly, people are getting organized, and in terms of, there's so many opportunities of investing in companies that are incorporating other companies, and they have recurrent revenues, and they would have a yield and a solid business propositions. So I think they're getting ready with pitch decks that will make sense for savers and experienced investors. They'll be able to see the value of that with buyback. So propositions that are very similar to other types of, even some of the real estate investments. So they're not that dissimilar in terms of mechanisms. Obviously, the medium is different. So there's a little bit of that. I think, again, on the cultural side, there are a few steps ahead. Already, there's some foundations that have a global scope that could even set up the donation such a way that on the other side there might be some tax benefits, and also incredible projects that will bring so much to this beautiful country in terms of regeneration of monuments or foundations or museums. So and there's quite a few of our clients that will take great pleasure in being patrons of such types of investment.
Yeah.
So I think, and obviously the funds even to this day, but 2021 and 22, they were hugely successful. There's a number of funds here with incredible programs in renewable energy, healthcare, agriculture, like this, wines. There's so many different interesting funds, and you can kind of mix and match the amounts. And again, the concept, or conceptually, the government extended the wording. So let's see. Well, we anticipate there will be a number of different opportunities.
Yeah. Now we just need to wait and see, but it looks exciting. Now let's open the Q&A, and the first question will be for me. I will answer it. David Lawrence Lincoln wants to know if there will be a recording of this. Yes, David. Just need to go to our LinkedIn page, Global Citizen Solutions or Goldcrest, and allow a couple of minutes, more than a couple, I'd say half an hour, until we finish here. It will be published there, and then you'll be able to watch as many times as you want. Now, let's see. I've got a question here. Do this apply for new applicants only? I'm not quite sure which element. So, Srinivas, if you're still here, just give us a bit more information so we can elaborate a good answer for you. Let me see here. Will the real estate option make an exception for Madeira and Azores?
Joana,
sorry, Giselle, I didn't understand. It was for me. No. Both Madeira and Azores fought for it, but no, right now, the Golden Visa real estate is to be terminated for the whole country.
Okay. Right. And then Frank Moore is asking, family reunification does not apply to adult children of Golden Visa applicants, correct?
Depends on the specifics of the adult children. Children of age can be included if they are economically dependent, studying, and not married.
Okay.
So as long as you manage to prove they meet these conditions, it's okay. They can be included.
Excellent. Is there a chance the president may return the law to Parliament for further reviews or revisions? That's a question from ISAM. We kind of cover that, Joanna.
Both veto options, political and through the Constitutional Court. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then Srinivas, I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. When would they publish?
$1 million question. No one knows.
No one knows.
Have to wait and see. To keep tracking every step that is still need to be completed, and then we will know shortly after the president ratify. We'll know it will be published shortly after. And that's it. Right now, we don't know.
Yeah. And then Mickey Northcutt, your answers here. It's basically the same question. What is the president's position on this legislation? Joanna also touched on that. Do you want to talk about it, Patricia or Joanna?
I don't think so. The president will have the moment for him to announce his position on the final wording is 20 days for the assessment. So it's coming. His announcement and his thoughts on the wording we'll know very soon.
Okay. Sidhu, hi everyone. Hi Sidhu. ISAM is back again. Can the private sector also lobby the president for the grace period in order to allow investors to finalize the process at least? I have a couple of nuances here that needs to be answered. Who wants to go for it? Patricia?
Sure. We have been lobbying and working incessantly with peers, companies like this, lawyers and association, even engaging, a proper lobbying company. So, and I think we have seen good results, maybe not the optimal result that we're hoping for. But from the first announcement in February, which was very difficult, and then the follow-up in March, which was catastrophic, and it even included retroactive effects and all of that, to where we are now, which is a clear path and positive outcome that the program is continuing. I think it shows that it did work. Obviously, we really hoped for a grace period, and we think it would be the equitable thing to happen, because like in any place in the world, like real estate transactions in particular, they do have, twists and turns, and documents and contracts go back and forth. So sometimes it does take longer. It can take longer than anticipated. So yes, I think there would be legitimate expectation to have this grace period, but we need to work with the reality that we have, make the most of it. I think the one thing that kind of, we cannot guarantee that any person coming into this process right now will successfully complete on the Golden Visa. But what we can promise is that we are monitoring, we have visibility on how this process is going, and client, and the risk assessments will occur, and people will only invest if we know that we have time to complete. So it is an exercise that we're both investment in the company and everyone involved here will be fully committed. But there is a degree. The process can take 20 days, or it can be extended for another couple of months, and it's really hard to tell. So it's monitoring and a little bit of cold blood, and very motivated people on both sides. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I'm really sorry. I'm going to jump to the next question, because we have 39 minutes now, and I think if I rush here, we'll be able to answer all these questions. Sidhu, you have questions about permanent residence card. We're not going to answer here because it's about Golden Visa, but our team will be in contact with you. A member of our team will just put the contact us details, and then you can just click there and talk to someone. Okay. Frank Moore, oh lovely, thanks Frank. So yeah, he's been a client, he worked with us, fantastic, thank you, we love you too. Wanderer, if you invest 500,000 to a fund with the new Golden Visa scheme, is there a minimum amount of time you will need to keep it invested?
Yes, there is the same 5 years that we have now under the current Golden Visa.
Okay, excellent. And will holiday rentals be allowed if the property was purchased in 2023?
I think this means in terms of local accommodation regime.
Local accommodation.
Right? So it depends. Has to be the property has to be enrolled for the local accommodation before the new law comes into force. So actually, it depends on how soon you're able to register the local accommodation. But yes, okay. Technically, yes.
Mm-hmm. Great. Randy, hello, thanks. This is very helpful. Thank you. Knowing how long it takes to apostille documents in the US, would that create a problem in the process? Yes.
No.
No?
No. What's key for the Golden Visa, for the application, is to complete an investment. It's taking up to 12 weeks to apostille a document in the US right now, even though there are companies that expedite this process. It's taking a long time. So the option here is sending the documents with the apostille pending, and when the apostille is done, we can add it. Worst case scenario, what happens is before pre-approval or final approval, the authorities may ask for a fresh document with fresh apostille. So it's the damage of not sending the document without an apostille is a delay further along the way.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go here. Sorry, moving on. We have 2 more questions. I think we can make it. Oh, no, item. Okay, fine. 3 more questions. How long is it taking CEF for approving the GV application? When do you pay the GV fee to CEF? After the biometrics appointment.
Okay, so how long is it taking? CEF is still dealing with some applications from the end of 2021. Then we have the 6-month period that they were not receiving applications. And so right now, I would say it's taking between 12 or 18 months for them to pre-approve applications. I think this process will speed up very, very soon because of this period with no applications. On the other hand, I think what's becoming faster now is the period between pre-approving and being called for biometrics. Because since December, we had clients that were pre-approved, booked for biometrics, already collected biometrics. So that part is better because CEF managed to clear the agenda of some types of schedulings they had by becoming automatic. So the agenda, it's easier to book right now than it was 6 months ago. About payments, usually you would pay the final fee upon biometrics. Right now, you have to wait to be notified to pay, meaning after biometrics, you wait the final decision from CEF and you make the payment of the fee. So you pay only when it's guaranteed you are approved.
Okay, good. And now Frank is back with a very good question. Is there a chance that changes will be made to those applicants who are pending, even after finalization of the current change to the Golden Visa requirements? And then he puts a clarification here. After finalization of these current changes, not the process on constitutional challenges.
Changing the rules by backdating the effects is not compliant with the Portuguese constitution. So I don't expect that to happen in any way.
Yeah, good answer. And when does the clock start ticking for the real estate investment, since the investment must be kept for 5 years? Is it from the date of the title deed transfer or the date of obtaining the cards?
So on your last renewal, you have to show that your investment is still available. Renewal, the procedure, the timeline to obtain the visa doesn't match exactly the timeline of investment. So technically, it should be 5 years of investment itself. But I would say to keep it on the safe side, if on your last renewal, it's been more than 5 years on your investment, you must keep it until you have the approval of the final renewal, at least that. Okay.
All right, Joana, thank you very much. Patricia, so I'm really sorry, but we reached the end, 45 minutes, but it was great. We covered every single question here from the chat. But still, if there's anything that you would like to ask our team, just get in touch with us and we'll be able to answer. This will be, the recording will be uploaded soon. And what else? And next week, we have another live. And that's about healthcare in Portugal. Not with you, Joana, you're free. You don't need to come back here. Neither you, Patricia. We'll have 2 doctors talking about the ins and outs of healthcare in Portugal. So thank you very much, all of you, and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, Gisane.